To the March 12th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Nguyen, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Agenda number 1, please.
Would be the minutes for the meeting on February 26, 2015.
I will defer to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Krieger.
I'd just like to note that on page 3, line 24, there's a typo. This isn't the Lowell Sun. I'd like to get my name spelled correctly every time it appears. Thank you. On that, I move with the typo corrected adoption of the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, second by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, please.
Commission will now take up matters to do with applications for special one-day licenses to sell, dispense malt beverages and wines only, or either one. Jack Fletcher of the Lowell Catholic Athletic Department for Friday, March 13th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the second annual Trivia Night at the Lowell Catholic Auditorium, 530 Stevens Street. Richard Barrett of Kilkenny Pub for Tuesday, March 17th, from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight for St. Patrick's Day in a tent-enclosed area at the parking lot adjacent to Kilkenny Pub at 660 Roger Street. Gabby Davis for Saturday, March 21st, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the event Beards and Brews, craft beer tasting at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor. Elizabeth Kegley of the Merrimack Repertory Theater from Monday, March 23rd, from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. for a theatrical performance by the Merrimack Repertory Theater at Liberty Hall, 50 East Merrimack Street. Jim Lachulis for Thursday, April 2nd, from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, the La Luna Sessions Jazz Music Performance at the La Luna Theater at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor. Also, Mr. Lachulis has several other applications for beer and wine for Thursday, April 9th, from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, Thursday, April 16th, from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, Thursday, April 23rd, from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, and Thursday, April 30th, 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, all for the Luna Sessions, the jazz music performance at the Luna Theater, Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor.
And each of you just state your name for the record, please.
Jack Fletcher from Lowell Catholic High School.
Good evening, Mr. Fletcher.
Elizabeth Kegley with Merrimack Repertory Theater.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Gabby Davis for the Beards and Brews, 127 Global.
Hi, Gabby.
Richard Barrett, Kilkenny Pub, 660 Roger Street.
How are you doing? Good.
Jim Lachulis, Luna Theater, Mill Number 5.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe everybody has had a license with us before, pretty much. Everybody understands the responsibility they have with these licenses, correct? And if we have any problems, we call the Lowell Police, correct? Good nodding, all right.
Move adoption.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck with all your events.
Thank you.
Don't leave, Mr. Barrett.
Commission will now take up number
Okay.
3 on the agenda, special events permit for amplification of sound for outdoor public entertainment. Richard S. Barrett, Kilkenny Pub, Inc., sound system for band Disc Jockey, St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th, 2015, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. in a tent-enclosed area at the parking lot adjacent to Kilkenny Pub, 660 Roger Street.
State your name for the record once again, please.
Yeah, Richard Barrett, Kilkenny Pub, 660 Roger Street.
How many years now, Mr. Barrett, over there?
This will be 15.
15. Captain Kennedy, how we doing over there on St. Patty's Day?
Very few problems. I just would ask Mr. Barrett to be mindful of the fact that the 17th does fall on a Tuesday. You do abut a residential area, so just please keep that in mind. I know you usually do, but just a friendly reminder from the police department, please. Thank you.
In all these licenses, I always speak about our past chairman, Mr. Occasion. He always says, I don't want to hear it at the regatta. All right? So I think we understand each other. Thank you, Captain Kennedy. Motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner McGovern. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Good luck with your event.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Commission will now open a public hearing on the application by Diamond Action, Inc., doing business as Lowell Spinners, Drew Weber, manager, for the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 450 Aiken Street, the Edward A. LaLasha Park, and open-air baseball stadium, It is proposed also that a change of manager be approved from Drew Weber to Timothy A. Ballman of New Hampshire. And this is a public hearing for public comment, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Andrea Batchelder. I'm a partner at the law firm of Gallagher and Kavanaugh, representing Diamond Action Inc., doing business as the Lowell Spinners, and with me is Mr. Bauman.
Good evening to both of you. Good evening. Let's do the protocol. Let's open up the public hearing. At this time, open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Tell us what the plan is here. Mr. Baumann?
We have surveyed some teams in the New York Penn League, and we found that we're one of the few teams in the league that does not have a full license. We also have brought with Gareth Markey and Brian Lindsay, who run the food and beverage portion of our business, and they found through the years that there's more and more requests by our fans to offer a full liquor menu. We have a plan for have one service point upstairs, and we're also remodeling our downstairs Gator Pit, which it used to be called the Gator Pit. We're going to call that now the Home Plate Barbecue, and we'd like to be able to offer a full array of alcohol at that location as well.
The license would be in whose name?
That would move over from Mr. Weber's name, who owns the club, to my name.
To your name, all right. And overseeing these alcoholic beverages, you'll be the man in charge?
Yes.
Okay. Additional training for people, for your staff, or what's the plan there?
I might defer to my guys on that.
Yeah, we will. Tips
If you don't, step to the lectern and just introduce yourself. Thank you.
Gareth Markey, Lowell Spinners.
Hi, Gareth.
We will tips train all of our sales representatives at the ballpark.
Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Hogan, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Baumann, good luck.
Thank
Got
you
a
very
great
much.
facility there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Commissioner will now take up number 5 on the agenda, a public hearing on the application by a corporation known as VM Corp., doing business as the Windsor Shop, Chirag A. Patel, president, for the transfer of the malt beverage and wine only package store license from Windsor Shop, Inc., Fareed W. Pahu, Jr., president, for premises at 583 Westford Street, one room for retail store, approximately 800 square feet, and basement approximately 800 square feet for storage only. Mr. Chairman, in the agenda, I did not note the proposed new manager for this particular applicant being VM Corp., and I believe that would be Mrs. Patel.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure if she's here now, but
No, my name is Gregory DeMarcus. I'm an attorney in Lynn, and with me is Chirag Patel, who's the applicant.
Okay.
And he's setting up a corporation. He's the 100% owner. Unfortunately, his wife, they have a young 2.5-year-old kid, and something came up, and she couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. But he is the owner. In fact, they're going to live on the apartment on top of the Windsor Shop. So, speaking of hands-on ownership and management, that's as good as it gets. As I said, he's entered into a purchase and sale agreement to purchase the business. He's going to finance the purchase of the business with a loan from Rockland Trust. He's also borrowing some money from his dad. The inventory is going to be financed. The owner of the business also owns the real estate, so they've entered into a lease for a 3-year lease with 2 5-year options. Mr. Patel is a very bright young man. He's got an interest in another liquor store in Brookline, never had a problem there. And I'm very familiar with his father-in-law, a guy named Shanubai Patel, and it's a first-class family, first-class business operators. It's in their DNA. They know how to run it. Seema Patel is already registered for a TIPS course. When did you say, next Thursday?
Next week, Wednesday.
Next Wednesday to become TIPS certified.
Why would he need to be tip certified if he already owns a liquor store?
No, his wife.
Oh, his wife. I understood, thank you. Got it, I'm getting confused there.
So we're asking for an approval of the application for transfer of license, and we're asking for the change of manager, and, you know, we understand that this board does not grant pledges.
Okay. Well, it is a public hearing, so I will once again open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Questions, comments from the board, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Commissioner Krieger?
Are we approving Mrs. Patel as the manager without seeing her?
We would be.
I'm not, I wouldn't want to set a precedent here.
Quite noted.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Krieger, what was that?
I wouldn't want to set a precedent by approving a manager with the new manager not here. I'm fully in favor of this and I'm prepared to vote for it. It's just the issue of the manager. When is the change going to go down? Do we have to change the manager today?
Well, yes, I mean, if this goes up to the ABCC, the old guy is gonna be out, so we'd have to do it.
Is this something that just came up, or did you bring this to Secretary Wynn's attention, that Mrs. Patel was not going to be here tonight?
No, we just found out today.
Yeah, my daughter got sick, and she's taking her to the hospital, and she has to drive to Fitchburg. That's where we lived, old address before. So all of our doctors, everything is in Fitchburg. That's why she couldn't make it back in time.
You know, go ahead, Mr.
I was going to say, I've moved to modify the motion that Mrs. Patel present herself to us next week. We approve, but that we invite her to present herself next week.
Okay.
We'll have Ryan get all the paperwork. Everything looks fine on it, Mr. Patel. It's just that I have to agree with Commissioner Krieger. I think we would be setting a precedent by not having the applicant stand before the board, and I think we'd like to probably be consistent with that. Everything looks fine. Secretary Wynn, everything looked good on the application.
Well, I guess I just want to, yes, it does look good, by the way. I just
Okay.
want to, for clarification's sake, based on what you've just said, I would not send the papers into the Alcoholic
You would
Beverages
not.
Control
No,
Commission.
you would
Okay.
not.
So
No.
the next scheduled meeting of the board is March 26th. It's 2
Okay.
weeks from today.
Of course, how does that work with your timeline? What is your timeline?
You know, what can I tell you? I mean, you know, we'll call the seller's attorney, and who's a very good guy, John Geary, and we'll just ask for an extension. We'll tell him that, you know, we ran into a little snag here because the manager was unable to show up, and it's got continued for 2 weeks. They've been very easy to deal with. The seller's been a gentleman, the seller's attorney's been a gentleman. I anticipate no problems.
I did have a chance to speak with Mr. Bahu and understanding that he's going to, Mr. Patel and his wife are
Right.
going to be living above. Everything seems great. It seems like, you know, Mr. Bahu's been there since 1888, so, I mean, and his family, so we understand that.
And he's been a gentleman and his lawyer, so do I anticipate a problem? No, it's something I just have to raise.
And we see no problems. I don't think Mr. Bahu's going to have a problem with 2 weeks, but once again, I have to concur with Commissioner Krieg. I think we would be setting a precedent by not having the applicant here in front of the board. But let's get this done in 2 weeks, okay? Make a motion that we table this for 2 weeks.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Commission will now take number 6 in the agenda, a matter continued from our last meeting, February 26th. The application by Stewart's Automotive, Inc., Kenneth L. Stewart, President, for change of location of second-hand motor vehicles license Class 2 used car dealer, number 472-B as in Brian, from 117 Congress Street indoors only to 97 Tanner Street, an open lot of 1,540 square feet for storage and sale of 9 vehicles. 7 of the 9 vehicles inside a fenced area, 2 outside the fenced area per plan on file.
Good evening, gentlemen. Could
Good
you state
evening.
your name for the record, please?
Good evening, Greg Curtis. I'm here tonight representing Stewart's Automotive, and with me is Kevin Stewart. As Commissioner Nguyen indicated, continuation from 2 weeks ago. We were, I guess, reviewing a plan. I have not had any back feed from anyone regarding what the issue was, but if the commission needs more time to review the plan with planning, engineering department, that's fine. We could possibly continue this.
Thank you, Counselor. I did have the legal counsel did do a little homework, so I think I might just yield to Counselor Veloso, and maybe you can chime in a little bit here.
Certainly, Commissioner. As part of the review of the application, the engineering department took a look at the plot plan, and they noted 2 potential issues that might prevent an approval of the license. And we feel that those 2 issues can be readily addressed, and therefore we recommend a continuance so that the applicant can submit a corrected plot plan. The 2 issues were last summer at the property. The engineering department went out to the property and determined that the chain link fence on the property abutting the city of Lowell property was in fact out of its bounds and was encroaching on city of Lowell property by a substantial degree. I talked with one of the engineers who indicated that at that time the area was replotted out, strings were used from the property boundaries, and the area line where the chain link fence was supposed to be was spray painted out. Since that time, the engineering department hasn't had an opportunity to confirm that the chain link fence has been corrected and moved away from City of Lowell property. So the engineering department wanted to raise that issue, indicating that they would like to check to make sure that the fence is no longer encroaching on City of Lowell property before the application goes forward. They also indicated to me that there appears to be an error on the plot plan. If you take a look at the plot plan in the area near Cambridge Street, you'll note that there is a line indicating a chain link fence. The engineering department indicated that that chain link fence is encroaching on the street itself, specifically Cambridge Street, which is a private way. The plan as submitted may potentially be a violation of zoning codes. Therefore, they recommend that the plot plan be corrected and resubmitted to the License Commission just so there won't be any issues going forward.
Yep. That pretty much, that's what the engineer's office, I don't think these are issues that are going to move this away from where we want to go, Counselor, but I think let's give the engineer's office a little time.
Yeah, that's fine.
And work it
Peter
through.
Maloney,
I just don't want it to keep on, I'm sorry, Mr. Stewart, that you have to be here again. I do apologize, but from the city's perspective, I think we want to make sure everything's right. So for the future, everything is, with any future dealings that you may have, that everything is going to be fine with the city. So,
And just to add, we feel that these issues can be readily correctable. Therefore, that's why we're recommending a continuance rather than, perhaps a approval or denial, and thus have these issues remain on the record.
understood. I also know that through the engineer's office, that may not be within the next week or 2. It may be something, so it may not be not a bad idea. Maybe we're looking at here maybe 4 weeks at that meeting. And
Right.
I think everything should be done by the engineer's office by then.
Yes, one of the engineers is unfortunately away on a training class. They also indicated there might be an issue with the snow.
Yep.
It is rapidly melting,
Yep.
so it may be possible that
You're
there
quite
might be-
optimistic, huh?
10 inches at each
Surprisingly,
start
I am
remaining.
optimistic, but there may be an issue with measuring out the land with the snow in place. That's why they recommend that perhaps we wait until the snow melts. Therefore, they can just get the employees on site and measure it out appropriately.
Ryan, we have a meeting on the 26th. What's the meeting right after that one? April,
It's the April 9th.
Counselor, you think that's all right?
We'd like to shoot for the 26th, but let's see how it works. If the snow is still there, they can't get out there, or if engineering department doesn't have time. The sooner the better, but if we have to go out to April 9th, we'll do that.
Yeah,
We're operating now with a license, we have the license at the other location. It's costing us money to stay there and pay rent, but we'll stay at that location with the license until we can resolve this issue, and then hopefully by April 9th, we can wrap it up.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
And certainly, if the engineering department can get there beforehand, we can certainly contact the License Commission and the applicant and indicate that,
If that happens before our next meeting, so be it. We'll have
Yeah, we'll put it
Mr.
back
Stewart
on.
here. If not, then we'll go with the 9th, so
certainly.
we'll play it by ear. How's
That's
that?
fine.
Sound good?
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah, with regard to Cambridge Street, it's a private way. Who owns it?
It is not a private way. That's one of the things, I think, on the engineer's
It's
plan.
been
Don't know if
accepted?
it was ever an accepted street. I know it was put in years ago, but
Yeah.
some of the property that was down there when they put the cul-de-sac in is, it needs to be addressed by the engineering department. There's been a automotive yard down there for 50 years, and there's been a fence down there that was not our fence. That fence was there on that property for over 30 or 40 years. So whatever we need to do to rectify it, I'm sure we can do it, but I don't know.
Okay, I'm just trying to clarify in my mind, if it is a private way, if it's a non-accepted street, can anything encroach on it if the owner doesn't care?
I would say because it's a laid-out street, there can be encroachment, especially given that even if it isn't publicly accepted, it's still laid out in a particular manner in the books, so.
Okay, I have a question for Mr. Stewart. The vehicles in the back of this area, where it says gravel area used to store disabled vehicles, do you have a license for those vehicles for scrap metal, selling parts, anything?
Most of them are vehicles that we've towed for the city. Some of them have actually belonged to the city that the Vice Squad Drug Unit is waiting to seize. So they're actually city vehicles on the city property that you're speaking about.
Yeah, we're not involved in a Class 3 type of license. This is a towing and storage facility. He tows for the city, for the state, for private individuals. Sometimes you'll have cars that are in very bad shape from accidents. Most of the time you have cars that are towed that stay there until the owners come and recover them. But we're not doing salvage type of operations at any time.
Okey dokey. Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Hogan to table this issue to April 9th, but if everything is expedited, then we'll move it to March 26th. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Commission will now take up item number 7 on the agenda, an application by Faux V-Star Restaurant and Lounge LLC, Ty Dukeman, manager of the LLC, for a license for common victular for premises at 602 Merrimack Street. Attorney Patrick Wood of Chelmsford has filed a communication of March 9, 2015, regarding the application, and duly noted the licensee of record is MA Restaurant LLC, Tu Vu manager. Mr. Chairman, just for the background, MA Restaurant at 602 Merrimack Street had been operating for several years as Black Koi Restaurant and has an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license. That license was renewed by the manager of record for MA last November, Mr. Tu Vu. And it wasn't until soon thereafter that it became known to the License Commission office that there was a proposed sale of the business. And it was anticipated that that the proposed sale would necessitate possibly closing the restaurant, in which it did close. And it was also anticipated by the office that an application for transfer of license would be coming to the License Commission. That application has not been filed. In the interim, a sale had taken place. It was consummated by the buyer and seller. The buyer is here now with legal counsel and went through changes in the premises, did a description change, significant description change, went to the buildings department or the Office of Developmental Services, secured the necessary permits to make the changes in the physical structure of the restaurant inside, received the necessary approvals to operate a restaurant from the Office of Developmental Services, Health, certificate of inspection signed off by the fire chief and by the building commissioner. However, the license commission was not made privy to all of these transactions until most recently, last week, in which there was operating a restaurant. There was no license issued by the license commission or by the license commission office. So Mr. Nin, who is the buyer, is here with legal counsel to make a formal request.
I think I got all that.
Good evening.
Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
Patrick Wood, attorney representing Mr. Nin. State your name.
Yeah, my name is Thai Duc Nin. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. Counsel?
You've heard the executive secretary give his remarks. The things got delayed due to remodeling and complicated by the snow. So the business did cease operations serving food and or liquor by the end of the year.
Yep.
And since then, in January and February, they've been remodeling the inside with no food or beverage service. The restaurant did open a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks, a little on that, and my client thought he has the health permit from the Board of Health and the fire department, the building inspector, and all the other boards, and overlooked the fact that he needed a common vicular license from this board. When it came to his attention, the paperwork was filed in the last week with the commission, seeking that last piece to be able to operate a restaurant without liquor at this time. It's the intent at a later date to come before the board again for the liquor license when the appropriate documentation is finalized and put together.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add to the matter to do with the alcohol beverage license, you have it within your discretion to cancel that license.
Yeah. No.
And have the new business owner apply for a new license. The other aspect to it is that in a transfer of license, that application for transfer, needless to say, will require a certificate of good standing from the Department of Revenue for the licensee of record, which is MA Restaurant LLC. So in one sense, it may be in the best interest for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and for the city of Lowell to see about the transfer as opposed to allowing a proposed new application. It doesn't mean that the Commonwealth couldn't require a certificate of good standing. They can very easily make the determination that this is an attempt to circumvent the tax laws of the Commonwealth without having an application filed for transfer. But it was my understanding it was a good faith attempt on the part of the licensee of record, Mr. Vu, to have the license for the premises, and it would be that the buyer was going to go forward with an application for transfer, trusting Attorney Wood in my conversation with him that there was nothing underhanded and going on with this type of transaction, though it does not an encouraging way to proceed with application, as you may well can imagine. Generally, when a buyer is looking to take on an existing business, the person will hold off and not make any payments on a cash transaction until after the application has been approved at the local level and by the state.
Would he face less hurdles by applying for a new license or transfer at this point?
Well, see, if the application was renewed, I should say the license was renewed for the calendar year 2015 by Mr. Vu.
Which was in good standing.
It was in good standing, and it's just a question as to, I had thought, quite frankly, that this application for transfer of license would have been before the board sometime in January for a public hearing.
Yep.
And nothing came about. So it's now, at this time, where we have a business owner who has got the health inspection approval, has been approved by the buildings department for the construction work that was done and completed. Fire department has signed off on it.
Yeah.
And now the license commission is coming in after the fact. It's sort of like giving this individual the benefit of the doubt, issuing a new license for common victular, with the understanding that there is no alcohol beverages whatsoever on the premises to be sold or served by anyone until such time as if it be the board's choice to allow this transfer application to be filed and act upon that as you normally might act, and see. This gentleman needs to obviously show that he is worthy to be a manager of record for a licensed liquor establishment as well, so.
But tonight he's before us for a common victual.
But in the meantime, he wants to just operate with a common victular approved by the License Commission to be issued as soon as tomorrow. He's operating the business quite frankly. You're open to business now. He is open for business.
Yeah.
How long have you been open for business?
About 10 days or so.
About 10 days.
Yeah.
It just seems like everything's been backwards. on this whole-
It's frustrating for me. I quite frankly,
It's been
I have
screwed
to.
up, no dispute
I
on.
mean, no communication here with the secretary, it seems.
Yeah.
Where's
But could I-
Mr. View in all this?
He is, bought a place over in Chelmsford and is in the
Hopefully not a
process.
restaurant.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Not with liquor, though. He's more wants to go into a deli operation and catering and things like that, a little different spin. I'd like to just make a comment with respect to the certificate of good standing from the Department of Revenue. Mr. Vu, of the AMA restaurant, did have the certificate of good standing, but it was 95 days old
Yeah.
when we
right.
made the thing. He went down to get a recertification, and that should be along momentarily. But it's all approved because he got it when this whole deal first.
Captain Ken, anything going on over there? I mean, we're serving food, we're not serving any liquor at all, and for the last 10 days, how's business been?
Well, it's starting up. They're waiting to get the sign approval from the committee who handles the signs, and so it's kind of a soft opening, if you want.
I just find it odd that the License Commission was kind of just pushed to the side for the last 3 months.
It's been a comedy of errors. I can't argue the
Understood.
point, and I think there's a little bit of a language barrier, but
Okay.
you know.
Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah. Hernando de Soto would be appalled at this. We can't excuse not getting the license, but I can understand it. And I think that we should grant the common victuals license immediately and ratify their previous 10 days and go forward with the transfer license.
I'll second that.
Commissioner McGovern, any comments?
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Hogan? No. Okay. We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy, to grant the common victular license. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's try it. I'm sorry, Commissioner?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we need to be quite frank that if there's any liquor involved between now and the transfer of the license, it would go poorly for the license.
So noted.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
All right.
Now, am I under the correct understanding that as far as a liquor application will be coming in as a transfer versus a new issue? That,
I would defer to Mr. Nguyen, but if everything is in good standing with the IRS, and I would think the transfer would probably be the easiest, and
Well, it's a transaction, I have yet to see the transfer application, because attorney, you're still working on it, or you've completed it, but you're just waiting for the certificate of good standing from the
yeah,
Department
that should
of
be
Revenue?
along within a week or so.
Okay, so the thing is, it's, such matters as these applications are where the licensing authorities, whether it be Lowell or any other community in Massachusetts, can readily approve an application, but the circumstances with the particulars of an application sent to Boston where an ABC investigator will review it. And on the basis that the application has complied with the tax laws of the Commonwealth, the ABC investigator is an entity unto himself or herself. And they can delay their recommendation to the ABC Commission until such time as they feel comfortable with whatever it is in terms of the paperwork. We find this happening more and more with the investigators, and I believe the investigators themselves are overwhelmed with some work. Just recently, I saw something in the newspaper about adding to their workload without the benefit of having additional investigators at this time. So it's all of which just points out that anything approved for the transfer, nonetheless, if it is approved by the License Commission, going into Boston, still there should be no alcohol available until such time as the
right.
Alcohol Beverages Control Commission has given its approval, which could be several weeks or several months.
so once
No, we
you
understand.
get your certificate of standing, go through with the transfer application,
Yeah.
and we'll go it that way.
Yeah.
It's probably the easiest way.
I'm going to be away for a week, so it might be after that, but,
Be that as it may.
yeah.
You sure
Okay,
there's no
well,
liquor being served there now?
Excuse me?
You sure there's no liquor being
Oh,
served?
no, there isn't any on the premises.
Sure you understand
It's- No, it's the bars all shut down.
Okay.
There's nothing. No.
Okay.
We invite you all to come down and take a
I
seat
will,
for
if you
yourself.
come by tomorrow, attorney, would come by tomorrow, I'll have an issue a common vittler's license.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Or the gentleman can come by.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.
With respect to number 8 on the agenda, we have a motion by the chairman that the License Commission review its regulation governing the requirement that applicants shall appear before the Lowell License Commission at regular meetings.
Before I speak on the motion, I want to thank Elliot Veloso for his effort on this. I appreciate it. Elliot, thank you very much. The intent of the motion was to make it a little bit easier of a process for some of our one-day licensees who are coming in front of the board up to 30 times, or so be it. Obviously, a Holy Ghost, Aramark, and some of our other applicants that have been in many times, and we've never had any issues. And making them come in front of this board each and every time, I thought was just a little bit over the top. So what we would want to do is, when they apply for licenses in January, and all they would have to do from then on, once they come in front of the board for their first license, is just apply through Ryan. He would note it in our next meeting. Like to have the applicant come back in 6 months, in July. We'll ask Captain Kenny how things are going, and accept their next licenses throughout the rest of the year. I just thought it was an easier process, making people who have done a good job, in maintaining their responsibilities, that I don't think there was a need to be in front of this board each and every time. So I welcome comments from the commissioners.
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
I would agree as well.
All right, there is a motion by myself, seconded by Commissioner Hogan, that one-time appearance in front of this commission in January, Ryan, and then a subsequent visit 6 months later in July for those applicants as well.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
The Law Department could draft up some proposed language for the License Commission if they'd like to review that, per the outline that you provided, wherein for certain special one-day license applications, an appearance in January, so long as they meet the requirements, they are allowed to simply submit their applications until July, in which there would be a follow-up. And we could also add language to the effect that they have to provide contact information to the License Commission, so that if there is an issue, they can immediately be brought forth to the commission to answer those issues. Hopefully, such issues wouldn't come up, but it would at least provide some additional protection to the License Commission to ensure that there's compliance.
Maybe we should speak about, commissioners, maybe we should speak about what licensee are we speaking about? Are we speaking about a licensee coming who has requested 5 licenses in a year, 10, 20? It's not a large amount of applicants, but we always know the Holy Ghost error mark is always here. So maybe we can have some discussion upon that. I know we've had some of the art galleries here and quite a few times, so I don't know, do we put a number on that? Maybe you can chime in with that too, Councilor Veloso.
Certainly, there could be a cap that's put into place to ensure that it's only a very select group, especially given that special one-day licenses are by design only meant for really special occasions in that sense.
Right.
The ABCC on their website indicates that one person is only limited to 30 per calendar year, and that's a hard cap. So some language could be put into place indicating that you're only allowed to use this process if you fit into a very select number of applications. We can certainly work on language.
Commissioner Krieger?
I think what we need to make clear is that if, for example, Holy Ghost Park rolls through 30 by the end of April, and they're bringing a new manager forward, the new manager needs to come before us.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I also think in a later meeting, Elliot, that I think we need to talk about, it seems like we have more and more licensees coming in front of these board, and I did get a phone call from a proprietor in the city about, these one-day licensees, and, understandingly, Holy Ghost is a nonprofit, understanding that, but we also have some licensees that may be for-profit, and how are we gauging that? So if they wanted to have an event on a Friday and Saturday night, be it a wedding or so be it, I mean, how is that? Is a corporation involved in that? As just like a restaurant, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays are kind of light, but obviously Friday and Saturdays are very busy for them. But they're open, and they're subsequent. They can get visits by the ABCC, the health department, and so be it. With one-day licenses, it's not. I wouldn't expect a visit from the ABCC or the health department on that particular day for a licensee. It seems like, I don't think we're being laxed, but I'd just like to know the parameters on one-day licenses as it pertains to some of these people that are coming in front of this board.
Certainly, and what we can do is we can go back to to both the law books and the regs, and we can, what we'll do is we'll double-check the standards that apply to both nonprofits and for-profits. And just what I can do is I can prepare a memorandum for the commission as to sort of the contours of those applications and what would be deemed acceptable and what potentially may be deemed excessive applications.
I appreciate that, and once again, thank you for your time and effort on this. Anything else from the commissioners on this item?
Can I just, in respect to any particular individual that you kind of alluded to, that is a representative of the Aramark or the Holy Ghost Society, if before Solicitor Veloso has a chance to complete the draft for your consideration, if, say, a representative of this type of organization, having been before the board this calendar year already more than once, by my recollection, would he or she need to come before the License Commission, let's say, for the next scheduled meeting of March 26th, so that if Ryan Wynn has been filing applications for the last 2 or 3 months, once or twice, let's say, do I need to come back again for March 26th if I have an application for an event?
You do not.
Okay. So that would be understood.
Plus, you seem like a nice guy to me, so we'll go with that.
Right. I'd suggest until any such changes are ratified, though, that we maintain the status quo as to appearances before the License Commission. So just so there's no confusion on
So
the
are you
part of-
suggesting then that the individuals like from Merrimack should come before the meeting on March 26th?
I'd recommend that they still come until any such proposed changes are finally ratified by the License Commission, just so there's no confusion as to what is or is not expected of them.
All right, that's my question. That's basically the question.
Explain to me, what do you mean by ratified at this point?
Well, if the License Commission would like the Law Department to draft up some new language
I understand. Okay.
for replacing it. So until the new language is ratified.
Should we expect that in a couple of weeks in by the next meeting, you think, or?
Certainly, we can take a look at it and try to get working on it as soon as possible.
All right, because I just wanted to think, I was thinking out loud now.
No, good point, Ryan.
With respect to, there was a person that was just here at our meeting for applications that were approved tonight, who has also filed an application, but I could not put that application on the agenda. So the commission could not act on that particular application, but that particular individual appeared before you this evening. So I would advise that person to appear before you at the next regular meeting.
Let's go with that, and then
Okay.
we'll ratify what's being written up by legal
Okay.
counsel.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, fine.
Great.
That's it. That's
Thank
it.
you.
All right, with respect to number 9 on the agenda, we have a new applicant by Corporation, an LLC known as 1981 Raymond Bar LLC, doing business as 1981 Raymond Bar and Kitchen. Peter C. Yoon, manager of the LLC, for an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 129, 131 Merrimack Street, one unnumbered door on the north side, one room for restaurant, kitchen, basement for storage. It is requested that Justina Yoon be approved as the manager of record for 1981 Raymond Bar LLC, that the Bar LLC has filed applications for license for common vittler and entertainment in a licensed restaurant. For the commission's ratification is the publication of a legal notice for Monday, March 16th, and for the hearing to be held for March 26th. This application would require abutters to be notified, and church, school, or hospital within a 500-foot radius. This is also, just for the commission's, may recall, the Mambo Grill business was at this location previously.
Okay.
I move that we agree.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy, to schedule this for March 26th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And last is a communication from Chandra Perry of the Mullers Building, 33 Middle Street, dated 3/10/2015, regarding a communication to the License Commission Office, trash, full dumpster and open space behind premises of Finn's Pub and Mill City Ballroom. Subsequent to that communication, the office was in touch with the
Excuse me,
Building
Secretary
Department.
Wynn, I think we had number 10.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, number 10 is the communication from Joe Bew of Heinz Tavern, dated March 3rd. Request for a date change for a special one-day license for malt beverages and wine only, and for a special events permit for the amplified outdoor public entertainment. The event was originally scheduled for March 8th, and it's been requested that those licenses be amended to reflect a new event date of Sunday, April the 19th. in conjunction with the Heinz Road Race.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Hogan to place the communication on file. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And then number 10 would be the communication from the Chandra Perry of the Mullis Building regarding trash in an alley, which is known as City Alley, adjacent to the Finn's Pub and Mill City Ballroom. And a follow-up to that matter, Building Commissioner Sean Shanahan explained that the matter was being looked into, and not only at that location, but elsewhere in the downtown area, because of the abundance of snow that the city has received in recent weeks. Access to the back doors of the licensed establishments as well as other businesses has been restricted. Snow removal has been actually non-existent in the back alleys because of the abundance of snow. And so it's kind of like one of those situations where everybody is frustrated, but at the same time, it does take a little patience under the circumstances. And that's what basically the message that Commissioner Shanahan was saying, that they are on it, and it involves everybody. So.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner McGovern, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy, to place communication on file. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Hogan, seconded by Commissioner McGovern. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Everyone have a great evening.